Welcome back. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving break. Tonight's notes are going to be on completing the square. So completing the square, and this is on page 38. And this is definitely something that we want to write on our table of contents because we're going to come back to it a lot. So let's go to unit 5. All right, just page 38. Completing the square. Like I said, this is something that we're going to be coming back to quite often. Even after this unit, it comes back. So it's really important that these notes are. So, going back to that page, completing the square. All right, let's just do an example. Okay, so we're going to solve x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals 0. And we already know how to solve that. We solved that by factoring. But now I'm going to tell you another way to solve it. Okay, so the purpose of completing the square, is to, 1, solve a quadratic for x, and 2, to find the x-intercepts. And we're going to learn another reason why completing the square is important, but that's not going to be for later on. But right now we're going to solve the quadratic for x and find the x-intercepts by completing the square. So we're going to write down the steps as we go. So that we know what to do when we have other examples. So the first step is going to be to get the x's by themselves. So anything with an x, we want it on one side, and anything without an x, we want it on the other side. That means we're going to subtract 5. So we'll have x squared plus 6x equals negative 5. Step 1. Get the x's by themselves. Okay, so we want anything with an x on one side, anything without x's on the other side. Step 2, make an area model. Okay, so I'm going to make my area model on this side. Okay. And we all know what's in this box. What goes in that box? The x squared goes in this box, just like always. So make area model. Place the x squared in bottom left. Okay, so we have our x squared. And then we have the 6x. Now what you do with that 6x is you split it up. So if I were to split up a 6, I want to split it into 2. What number is 6 split into 2? It is 3. And those 3's are going to be in these two boxes. So we're going to put plus 3x plus 3x. So I'm going to write down here. Split the middle term. And it's technically not the middle term anymore, right, because we moved this one, but I'm still going to consider it. I'm going to write split the middle term in 2. Okay, so we split it up and we put them in the sides. Step 3, figure out the factors. So just like we've done before, we need to figure out what they have in common. Well, looking at this, what do x squared and 3x have in common? An x. And what do x squared and 3x have in common? An x. Now looking at this, what times x will give me that 3x? Well, that'll be plus 3. What times x will give me the 3x? Again, that's plus 3. So those are the factors. Okay? Well, if this is a 3 and this is a 3, what number should be in that one? Well, you multiply 3 times 3, and that'll be a 9. And that 9 completes that square. We just had a square. We filled in them pieces. That number completed this, exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to make that square complete. Okay? But I just put that 9 there. I can't just put a 9 anywhere I want. If I put a 9 over here on this side of the equal sign, I also have to put it on this side of the equal sign. So I'm going to show you that I'm going to go like this and say, well, that's going to have to go over here as well. So my step 4, add a number that completes the square. To both sides. So I added it here. I also have to add it over here. So let's rewrite what we have. Well, our factors are, this one's x plus 3. This one's x plus 3 equals, and then over here I have a negative 5 plus 9. Okay? Well, what's another way I can write x plus 3 times x plus? I could write that as x plus 3 squared equals, and then I have negative 5 plus 9. Negative 5 plus 9 is 4. My last step is just to solve. Okay, now looking at this, how are we going to solve this? Well, I have a squared. If I want to get rid of a squared, what do? We square root it. So we're going to square root this side, and we square root the other side. So we're left with x plus 3 equals the square root of 4. Now this one, there is a square root of 4. What's the square root of 4? The square root of 4 is 2. But in this case, it is plus or minus 2 because it's both. Just like when we were factoring, when we had 2 answers, we still are going to get 2 answers using that plus or minus. So when we solve this, we're going to subtract 3. And we get x equals negative 3 plus or minus 2. It actually gives us 2 things to solve. We have x equals negative 3 plus 2 and x equals negative 3 minus 2, which means x is negative 1 and x is negative 5. Okay, and that's how you complete the square. So I'm going to have you solve one now. You're doing the exact same process. And you're going to solve x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Video's going to pause, you're going to enter in your answer, and then the video is going to start again and I'm going to go over it. So, let's complete the square. The first thing I'm going to do is get the x's by themselves. So I'm going to add 3. So that's going to give me x squared plus 2x equals 3. I box. X squared goes here. Now I'm splitting up 2x. When I split up 2x, that'll be plus 1x plus 1x. And I figure out my factors. That'll be x plus 1, x plus 1. And to figure out what goes up there, that's going to be a plus 1. That I'm going to add to that side as well. So now I have x plus 1 times x plus 1 equals 3 plus 1. I rewrite this as x plus 1 squared equals 3 plus 1 is 4. To solve that, we square root. So we get x plus 1 equals the square root of 4. It just happens to be the square root of 4 again. That's not always going to be the case. So that's x plus 1 equals plus or minus 2. Subtract 1. X equals 1 plus or minus 2. So we have x equals negative 1 plus 2, x equals negative 1 minus 2, which means x equals 1, and x equals negative 3. Okay, and that's how to complete the square. Thanks for watching.